introduce
This
myself.
conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, I would like to know about you guys, your name, your experience. What's your expectation out of the class? Just a short round of introduction from your side. You can go around the table once and you can introduce yourself so that I know what is that you require from these sessions and how I can maybe tweak the contents of so based on your requirement, whatever you require. Probably if I can cater to that, that will be great. So I would like to know your experience, what have been doing, what is your expertise, what is your area which you're working on, and what is that you're expecting out of these sessions. Can we start? I
Hello
hope everyone
everyone.
can see my screen.
Yeah. Hello everyone. I'm Anita Ramalingam.
Hi, Anita.
I have 12.6 experience as security consultant. Worked in general SAP security, GRC, and CUA in support projects. My expectation from this training is to gain more knowledge in SAP S4 HANA and Fiori security, and to prove in interview that I have work experience on the same. And I should be comfortable that this is not new to me when I start working. Thank you.
Great, very well said. And I believe our training is exactly made for that. Thank you, Anita.
Thank you.
Who wants to go next?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Jafar. I have around 4 years of experience in SAP security and GRC. And my expectations are like I am completely new to this Fury and HANA. So I am expecting from starting to till like implementations and migration part to till security and
Good to know. Good to know, Jafar. A
yeah,
clean slate
thanks.
is always good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, Raghu. Hi, my name is Bandi Anjanelu. I've got 6.5 years of experience from as SAP security, consultant. I was working with as part of SAP security support project until 1.5 year back. Last year or 1.5 year back, I've joined Deloitte and I kind of moved to the audit side. And now I've come back to the security again. Luckily, I'm fortunate that I've got placed in one of the MNC companies. So yeah, now that I wanted to come back to security where SAP S4 HANA and Fiori is the latest module. So I want to gain knowledge as well as come back on track on SAP security so that I'm in sync with the latest technology and move ahead
Good.
with that.
Thanks, Antonia. Okay, that's good. Who's going next? Yeah, Shivachari. Sorry, I'm not able to hear you. There is a lot of disturbance. No, there's a lot of disturbance. Shivachari, there is a lot of disturbance. So anyone else wants to go in the meantime?
Yeah, I will go. Hi Raghu, hi everyone, good evening. So I have 2.5 experience in SAP security and GRC access control. So basically I've worked on ECC security. I haven't had a chance to work on Fiori security and S4. So I'm looking forward to learn the concepts, security concepts which are there in Fiori as well as S4 database. So I do not have any hands-on experience right now. So my expectation is I want to be very much comfortable working on Fiori security and S4 database.
Okay, great, Saurabh. Yep, I believe this is the right place. Thank you. Who wants to go next? Tanuj,
Hi Raghu,
yes.
myself. Yeah, hi Raghu, myself Tanuj. I'm currently working on SAP security for the past 3 years. So my expectation from the course is to have the new skills so that I can go ahead with my career.
Good. Okay,
Thank you.
great.
Hi Raghu, this is Shiva.
Yeah, hi Shiva.
Good evening, Raghu. So total I have years of 6 years of experience in SAP security in GRC. So currently our client is looking for, upgrade to the S4 HANA and the Fiori part. So it will be like, useful to my career and current projects for I'm looking for it.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Shiva.
Thank you.
Thanks. Let me try to unmute Vijay. I only have the option to mute Vijay. Sorry, I'm not able to unmute you. You can unmute yourself if you have, or you can probably join, go back and come in again. Hope that works. Yeah, Ravindra, I believe just Vijay and Ravindra are left. Can you hear us? Yes, Ravindra, go ahead. Please unmute yourself. Same issue. Okay. Okay. Are you connected via browser? I believe, as Anita is saying, if you are connected via browser, probably that might be a problem. So I would suggest you to download the GoToMeeting client for our sessions, because this will be our primary mode of trainings which will happen. It'll all be on GoToMeetings. So it'll be good if we have an interactive session, and I would like everyone to be active and vocal when we are having the sessions. Anyways, coming to my introduction. Okay, my name is Raghu. So I have 14 plus of years of experience, almost close to 15 years of experience, all in the area of SAP infrastructure security. I have worked on SAP GRC, 12 SAP GRC AC, a little bit of PC. I am also a certified PIM-PAM consultant for CyberArk, done multiple greenfield, brownfield implementations, rollouts, upgrades, AMS experience, and there are a lot of other flavors of SAP security which I have worked. I have listed on here. So I have conducted close to 16 sessions. Suresh, correct me if I'm wrong. So it's been almost like 16. This is the 16th session which we'll be conducting on the area of Fiori security and HANA DB security, and it's an ever evolving course. Okay, so whenever we find something new to be added, we add it, we incorporate that in the session, and we run the sessions. Okay, that's why it has been the most successful, that we are ever evolving. We keep on adding new stuffs to it. It is not a fixed thing. It is not a presentation PPT based training material which we have ready made, which I just read through. No, this is probably the only presentation which you will see in the entire duration of the course. Okay, and the rest of the sessions will be very much hands on. You will get access to your system, your demo server. You will have all your instances installed on it. Okay, you can practice, you will have access. Suresh will probably explain that more. So most of the things we do here will be hands-on, and we will give you real project like experiences, which I will share whatever experience I have from my past experience. So we'll put that everything into use, and we'll make sure that we address everything of your concerns, make sure that you are your job ready when you are out of these sessions. Okay, so let me go through the agenda. Okay, we have split this into two different parts. Okay, the first one is S4 HANA security. When I say S4 HANA security, there are two aspects to it. Okay, S4 HANA. Okay, let me answer the big elephant in the room. Okay, what is S4 HANA? Okay, S4 HANA. What is S4 HANA? Everybody has this question, so probably I would have to answer this one first. Let me give me a minute. I will open another presentation just to explain what is S4 HANA. Okay. So earlier we used to have what we call ECC, right? ECC was nothing but your ABAP stack, okay, your front end system, or where you run all your business, your end-to-end business processes. Everything used to run on your SAP ECC or EHP or whatever, SAP 4.7 versions, SAP 3.x versions. All of that was your ERP system, which is primarily an ABAP stack. Now SAP S4 is nothing but the newest version of your SAP ERP system. Okay, SAP S4 is the newest version of your SAP systems. Now let me just no fill. Okay, so what is S4 system, right? Just if you call S4, it is a suite. It is a suite of applications which comes as a bundle. Okay, now earlier we didn't had any suite. It was a standalone ECC system, okay, which used to be licensed separately, right? You have your EHP system, it used to be licensed separately. You have your other systems like MDG, MOC, whatever system, BI system, everything used to be licensed separately by SAP. Now what SAP have done, they have come up with this concept of S4 suite. Okay, S4 suite, let me just write it down here. SAP S4 suite. Okay, SAP S4 suite. Okay, so what do you mean by SAP S4 suite? S4 suite is nothing but a collection of applications which are bundled together and sold as one product. Okay, so it consider this as your basket or your suitcase. Okay, so what are the different components of this particular suitcase? The first part is your ABAP stack. Okay, first part is your ABAP stack, which is very similar to your ECC system. Just like your ECC, we have a one more system. Okay, I'll give it a name later, but just consider that this is your ABAP stack. Along with your ABAP stack, SAP provides a database. Earlier this was never part of SAP's offering, right? So what now they are doing is they are giving HANA database. Okay, they are giving HANA database as part of the suite itself. As part of the suite itself, they are providing HANA database. Along with that, they will give you Fiori, although Fiori UI5 is optional. Most of them definitely go with this. Okay, so this is what your S4 HANA suite comprises of. You might add the customers are free to add as many products as they want. They can add your MDG system to it, they can add your B4 HANA system to it, they can add whatever products in it. It will all together, it will be called as your S4 HANA, S4 suite. Okay, you can also call it S4 HANA suite. Okay, now the confusion starts when SAP calls this entire basket as S4 HANA. They also call the ABAP stack, which is here, as S4 HANA. Okay, this is also called as S4 HANA. That's where the confusion begins. Okay, the ABAP stack is also called as S4 HANA, and the entire suite of application is also called as S4 HANA. Okay, but you need to very clearly understand what your S4 HANA suite comprises of. S4 HANA suite comprises of your ABAP stack, which is your S4 HANA. Then you have your HANA database. Then you have other components, including UI5, Fiori, MDG, whatnot, right? So now, when I talk about S4 HANA security, there are two aspects to it. One is the entire security for this particular suite, which comprises of ABAP stack, HANA database, UI5 Fiori. Okay, when we talk about S4 HANA security, it contains all these three. Now, I should ideally cover all these three system security, but when you look at the ABAP stack security, there is absolutely zero new things in your ABAP stack. It remains exactly the same as your ECC security. You have the same PFCG, you have the same SU01, you have the same role concept, same objects, everything remains the same, right? That's why when we talk about S4 HANA security, we are not considering this part. We are not considering the ABAP stack security. Okay, we are only talking here what is new, what the security, as I believe that all of you are have worked on SAP security before, so this remains exactly the same. Okay, every concept, every object, it's just an upgrade, right, from one version to another version. When you upgrade, whatever new things comes up, that's the only thing new in your S4 HANA. The major changes comes in the functional area, like you have simple finance, you have simple logistics. There are a lot of changes in your functional area, but technically speaking, it is absolutely the same as ECC. There is nothing new. Okay, that's why we are not counting this in the course, but we are talking about things which are new to your S4 HANA suite, which is your HANA DB security, database security, and Fiori. Fiori is entirely new, so that's why we have Fiori security, and it works differently as well. I mean, it doesn't work on your normal authorization, although there is an integration which happens between PFCG. We will talk about that later. But in this curriculum, we are talking about, when I talk about S4 HANA security, we are talking basically about the HANA DB security and UI5 security. We are not talking about your ECC normal security, which you are all exposed to. Okay, any questions? Any questions, confusions? Now is the time.
No, Raghu. So far, it's clear.
Others? Thank you. Others?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yes.
Raghu.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
yeah.
Now let me come back to the agenda here. So I have split it into two, as we discussed earlier. So the first part is HANA database security, okay, where we will see what exactly a security practitioner as us is expected to do on the system. Okay, there is not a lot of things which we are expected to do on HANA database, but whatever is there, it is very important. So we have covered a lot of steps which you'll see, right? Then we will skip on to your HANA, S4 UI5 Fiori security. Okay, so it's up to you. We can start from Fiori, we can start from HANA DB. It's totally up to you guys. So let me go through the agenda for both these components. Okay, so when we talk about HANA DB security, okay, so there are things which help us to understand things, right? Although we are doing, let's say we are doing 10 things in HANA DB, but to understand those 10 things, you would require to know 10 other things which is not done by you, but you need to have an understanding of that. Okay, so based on that, what we have done, we are talking about what is HANA, the very bare minimum aspects of HANA, very easy to understand, what makes HANA database special, what differentiates HANA with other databases, and all that. We will talk about that in the introduction section. Then we will talk about the tools which are needed, like HANA Studio, DBA Cockpit. DBA Cockpit is not on our demo system, so we will talk about Web IDE instead. Okay, so we'll talk about HANA Studio and we will talk about Web IDE. Okay, Cloud Cockpit is not something which we are covering. I need to take this off. Cockpit is mostly a basis kind of an activity, so we are ignoring that. Then we talk about information view, right? These are your, although we do not create any information views, but uh, these form the core of how your security is designed. Okay, how your security is designed. So the first three parts are not done by us. Okay, these two are introduction. Information view is something which we don't do it. Okay, but we will try to see how information, what are information view, how it is built, what are the types of information view, how we can leverage it to improve our security. We will look an extensive view, a very detailed explanation about information view is also covered in this section. Then we jump into the core security aspects of HANA DB, where we talk about privileges, right? What are the types of privileges, how many, what are the privileges which we build on top of information view. So these privileges are built on top of information views, so that's why we have covered information view. Then we will talk about analytical privileges in detail, right? Analytical privileges are those which we are supposed to design and we are supposed to build. The other privileges are all there from the system perspective. Okay, we do not have an option to create system privilege or object privilege or package privilege or application privilege. The only privilege which we'll be creating will be an analytical privilege. We will be using or leveraging the other privileges, so we need to know all the types of privileges as well. Okay, but The design part, when it comes to a security design, we will have to design our analytical privilege. So there are types of analytical privilege. There are static, dynamic, a lot of it's a big discussion about analytical privilege. We will cover analytical privileges in detail. We will talk about dynamic analytical privileges as well in detail. Okay, then we move into the roles. Okay, what are the types of role? What are catalog roles, runtime role, design time role, repository role? All those types of role we will try to explain. We will see how to build these roles, how to restrict the roles, what is the importance of the role. All those things we will be addressed in the role concept. Then the daily bread and butter for us, right? User management. Okay, this is very critical. What users do you create on HANADB, right? What types of users, how many types of users are there? What is that you provide a user on HANADB? Do you actually need users on a database? So all these questions we will answer in your user management part. So there are many things which we have not. I have tried to keep the agenda as simple as possible. There is trace mechanism, there is transports. We will all talk about that in the roles and user management. We'll talk about transport, we'll talk about tracing. How do you trace an error? How do you troubleshoot? All those things will be covered, so you don't have to worry. So it is all there. It's not there in the agenda, but we will cover all those things. Okay, any questions on the DB agenda? This is going to take us, the HANA database security will uh, probably take around 15 sessions, but I'm trying to cut it down so that we can include more on the Fiori aspects. But as of now, you can consider 15 hours, but we will definitely try to reduce that to around 10 to 12 hours, 10 to 12 sessions for HANA-DB. Any questions, anything which you think we should be there and which is not part of the agenda? I can probably give an explanation on that, or maybe we can include that as well if it is very necessary. And if I have missed it out, we'll definitely make provisions to add that in the agenda as well.
One thing, Raghu, maybe I'm not sure, I don't know, maybe. So, now whatever you spoke about is part of the support, right? So, I mean, is there anything, that should be as part of implementation, or usually we have, right, implementation team plays versus the support team. So the
Mhm.
curriculum that we have is more for support, or is that also covering our implementation? Maybe I'll have the same question for Fiori as well.
Our agenda, both of them with respect to implementation, greenfield implementation. But when it comes to HANA database, there is nothing a security consultant will do in terms of implementation. It's all basis. You don't have to do anything in a implementation scenario on a database, right? There is absolutely nothing. The only thing which probably you will have to do is the integration of your GRC with HANA database, right? So that is covered in the GRC section. So only those kind of integrations we'll have to take care. But as a security consultant, there is nothing in an implementation project on the database apart from integrations, apart from
Okay.
integrating your other tools. Fiori is entirely, I mean, that is all what we have to do during an implementation phase, your role design, we'll talk about that. But on a database side, implementation is majorly done by your basis team and your BI data administration team as well. Okay, it's all about migrating from one database to other database. We have no role to play in that.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
And this is not with the lens of support. What I feel personally is that if you have done one implementation, it is definitely you can handle support. Okay, that is my point of view. So that's why the entire curriculum is designed so that you are implementation ready. Any other questions? Anything which you want me to include here? Great. Okay, one more thing before we actually start. I want these sessions to be, I say this, probably Suresh is bored of hearing this thing in every session, but I try to make a point of telling this particular point to every session of mine. I want this to be a dialogue and not a monologue, right? I want you guys to be interactive, ask as many questions as possible. The more you ask, the more you get out of me. right? So if I might be stuck on one particular agenda, I keep on carrying and saying things which I know, but when you ask me a question, it explores a lot more, and I will switch to that part, and I go on explaining that as well. So the more you ask, the more you will get out of me. So please be interactive. Okay, at least yes no maybe will be helpful for me, because sometimes what I feel that I'm speaking to myself, and probably I'm disconnected, nobody is hearing me, so those kind of things crop up in my mind. So to avoid that, I want you to be interactive, vocal, and I want this to be a dialogue and not a monologue. Are we okay with that?
Yes, Raghu.
Sure, Raghu.
Yeah, yes, Raghu.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yes,
Thank you
definitely.
guys, thank you, thank you. Okay, now coming to the UI5 Fiori security. So all of you know that Fiori is the new face of SAP. So we will try to understand Fiori from the very basics. Okay, introduction, we will introduce what Fiori is, why it is important, why it was introduced, all those history of Fiori in a very briefly. Not history is not much, doesn't play any role in this curriculum, but we will try to know why it was introduced and how it is different than our existing ECC or pre-HANA times, right? So what makes Fiori so special? Okay, then we will talk about how many types we can deploy Fiori to your clients. Okay, so there is a central hub deployment, there is an embedded type of deployment. We will try to see both of them, pros and cons, recommendations, and all that we will cover in the ways of deploying Fiori. Okay, the upcoming topics, right, when we come to authorizations, when we come to catalogs and groups, we will look at it with both perspective. Okay, hub, in central hub, how do we design? In embedded, how we design? So that's why I have covered the hub and embedded in the beginning, so that the upcoming topics, wherever it is required, we will try to see it with both angles. Okay, how do you do it in a hub deployment, how do you do it in an embedded deployment? We will see both the aspects of it, so that you get a overall perspective of how Fiori can be done. Then we will try to step into end user shoes and see what is that end user gets out of it, right? What are the tools available for him to play around? What is a Fiori launchpad? What is a designer? What are the personalization options given to the end user? We will see all those in the end user perspective. Then we will go a little technical. Okay, little technical. When I say little technical, we will see what are the Fiori apps, what is that on offer from SAP, what are the types of app. You will be amazed by, you might have heard about some types of apps, but I can assure you that the way we take this session, you will see a whole new perspective of looking at an app, right? So we will see how to design these. Okay, what are the types of apps, what are the categories? Okay, we will take a very defined look on the Fiori apps library. Okay, Fiori apps library is our repository provided by SAP, which will house all these apps. We will take a look at that. We will see how to leverage them. Okay, it's going to be an interesting session for Fiori apps library. You'll see different ways of looking at apps, right? Then we will go a little more technical. We talk about catalogs and groups. Okay, what are catalogs, what are groups, types of catalog, how to build a catalog. We will have all these are hands-on sessions, right? All of these, we will have our own requirements, we will have our own business process documents, we will go and design these catalogs and groups, and furthermore we will design the roles as well. We will give recommendation of how a role design should be, what it should be based on. Okay, all those things will be covered, right? So we will also take a look at how to build static apps, right? So we will also try to draw a line between the responsibilities, because there is always a confusion in an implementation environment, that what a security team should do, what a development team should do, what a Fiori UI5 team should do. There is always a conflict, right? So we will try to draw a line between what is the responsibility and what are the things which you need to do. Okay, we will sometimes will cross that line and try to see how we can do the things on the other side of the story as well, right? We will do that, because if at all we get a chance to do those activities as well, we should not be short-handed, right? We need to know how exactly to build a app, for example, right? Usually it's a developer's role, but we will try to see how to build a very simple static app. I'm not talking about a fancy custom app which requires coding and all, but we will try to see how to build an app for which there is a transaction and there is no app available. We will build those apps and we will include them in the catalogs. Those activities we will definitely do in our exercises. Then we will talk about authorizations. Okay, so when I talk about authorization, the first part is what we covered in your catalogs and groups. The second one is how do you provision them, right? The PFCG and Fiori integration. We will talk about how to be smart in your design concepts, right? How to let's say you are pushed into a greenfield implementation project. How do you design your role structure, right? We will start from there. We will have tips, tricks of designing your role. We will have reference documents. We will have all of that. We will do in these sessions, right? Then we will talk about the deployment approaches, right? What are the we have seen technically what how we can deploy Fiori, but there are a couple of approaches which the client may follow, or you can suggest them of how Fiori can be deployed. There are multiple types, 3 types to be precise, and one is a hybrid model, which is a combination of the first 3, right? We will see about those deployment approaches. We will see spaces and pages, right? What is new with Fiori 3.0, right? So earlier we only had catalogs and groups. Now we have Fiori spaces and pages and sections, right? Space, page, sections. We will see all of those in detail as well. Okay, but to understand spaces and pages, we need to be thorough about groups and catalogs. Then we can switch on to spaces and pages very easily. Then we will see what are the advanced tools available, made available with the latest versions of S4HANA, right? S4HANA 1909 onwards, there are a lot of things which have been introduced, like content manager, there is intent analysis, and lot more things we will see about the advanced tool. Advanced tools are nothing but the new transactions which gives us a workspace to understand more about how Fiori works. Okay, those are the tools which are available. We will look at them, not maybe not all of them, but the ones which are very important for us. We will try to look at the advanced tools. We will see activate methodology. I'm not talking about the entire project methodology of activate, but we will see certain aspects of activate methodology in which we can activate the Fiori apps and catalogs in one shot. Okay, it is called rapid activation, which is relevant for us. We will look at rapid activation. Okay, then we will see what are application cards, what are overview pages. There is a different set of apps called as OVP apps, which are nothing but the overview pages, which contains application cards. We will look at how to use the application card function, the features, what are the things which we can control, what are the things which we cannot control. Okay, those kind of things we will discuss in the new section, right? Then there is a very small 10-minute topic of Fiori roadmap. Okay, SAP have suggested a particular roadmap. It's a small one slider. Okay, we will talk about how SAP wants clients to pursue Fiori, right? We will talk about that. And I have just put the last section at the last, but it doesn't mean that we will only cover the trace the error analysis at the end, but it is understood that we will be doing your trace, error analysis, all of that throughout the sessions. Okay, okay, it's not that it is restricted to the end of the session, but whenever, as it is a hands-on uh, uh, what do you say, hands-on sessions. So every time we encounter a problem, we will do the trace analysis, we'll do the error analysis, we will see what are the transactions required. Okay, it is not that I will stick to this in a very straight order, right? So Fiori is whenever something interesting comes up, I can pitch it in, I can switch this. Okay, I can go back and forth between these topics. My whole agenda, the whole intent behind having this session is to make sure that you know all of that is available in Fiori. Okay, at least to give you a kickstart in how to approach the Fiori scenarios, right? Any questions?
No, Raghu.
Yeah, as of
Anything
now,
which you
it's
want to
clear.
add, any questions or anything? We have like 10 minutes. I cannot go through the introductory demo sessions for today. The agenda explanation took almost like 40 minutes. So uh, you can if you're facing any challenges in your projects, current projects, if you have any open-ended questions, please feel free to bring it up. We will definitely talk about them. Anything on Fiori? Anyone who has worked on Fiori before, at least some part of it? Any exposure to Fiori at all, or for that matter, HANA database exposure?
HANA DB, I worked on that, but only to a limited extent. Fiori, I did not have any experience.
So what was your exposure to HANA DB?
Like creating users and assigning the roles to them, and we had the integration from ECC system where we assign the role. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't really recollect that, but yeah, I think we used to assign role in SAP, and then it used to sync back in HANA,
Hmm.
and we used to enable authentication from HANA DB, so they
Uh-huh.
can sign on. They can do a single sign on, and I remember we providing access to privileges.
Hmm.
Again, I'm so sorry. It's been really quite
Ah,
some
it's okay.
time. So
It's totally okay. You don't have to be sorry at all. So that's why we have
okay,
these sessions. Okay. Have you built any privileges before?
no,
Okay. Okay. Good. Anyone on Fiori? Anything at all? At least have you come across? Have you read stuffs on Fiori?
I did.
Out.
I mean,
Hmm.
as I told you, I did not work on that though. But again, I try to understand about the catalogs,
Hmm.
the Fiori library that we have, where all the apps are provided by SAP. If you
Hmm.
have to customize them, you could do that.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, it's because most of the developers do customize the apps, so that's
Hmm.
I know that.
Not
And
all the apps. Not all the apps. So there are things which are called as app extensions, right? Only for the apps which are extendable can be extended. Okay, it's about
okay,
20% of the entire library.
oh, okay,
Okay, so not all
so,
the apps can be extended. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about
right,
that types of apps and how the apps what are provided. Yeah. Any other
yeah.
exposure? Anyone else? Okay, good. A clean slate is always better, as I said earlier. So we will. So one thing which I want from you guys is that when we finish a session, when you get your access, I will ask Suresh to give you those the accesses as soon as possible. But as soon as you get your accesses, the things which we do in a session, I want you guys to practice that. Okay, do all that is possible, do a lot of trial and error, see, try to answer your own questions. If you get a problem, you come in our next session and you ask that question. So the first 15 minutes of the session will be to answer your questions which you have faced during your trial and error workshops which you have done, right? So that will be really helpful. Okay, the total duration of the Fiori security is, I'm expecting somewhere around 20 hours. Okay, so the overall the I'm trying to cut it down, I mean speed it up, so that we can wrap it up really quickly, but it's very difficult to cover everything in that if I rush in things, then probably it'll be a problem for completing or having a clear understanding of everything. So we will take it slow, there is no rush, but we will try to finish at the earliest. Okay, any other questions? Suresh, you wanted to add anything?
Nothing wrong.
Raghu,
Okay,
like
great.
when we are going to start the session, is that from Monday?
Yes.
I'm hoping, yeah, Monday.
Okay.
Can you also tell us what time it would be and how much duration? Because we have to just adjust from the office hours.
Yeah, it would be 9 or 9:30 that I'll confirm tomorrow. Raghu?
Yes, 9:30 would be ideal. 9:30 p.m., right, evening hours,
Yeah.
so that it is everyone is available at that particular time. And the usual time is 1 hour per session, but it never ends in 1 hour, right? It always stretches for 1:15, 1:30, depending on how we are processing in the, sometimes it may end in 45 minutes, because if there is a new topic, we have ended some topic and the new topic will not take 15 minutes to complete, then probably we'll push it to the next session. So that is how it works. So ideally 1 hour, 1 hour would be the time of the session, but we will, if I want to 1 hour 30 minutes is also fine with me, so that we can wrap it up really quickly. So 1 hour is the average, if I can say. Okay, any other questions? Ravindra, Vijay, and Jafar, Shiva, most of you are very, very silent. Tanuj.
As of now, nothing, Raghu. As per agenda, it's looks fine. Let's see after the classes. I'll have doubts.
Sure, sure. I love doubts. I love questions, to be very honest.
Sure, sure.
The more you ask me questions, the more it increases my involvement in the sessions as well. So yeah, so I would expect a lot of questions. Thank you. Okay, I
Thank you,
think
Raghu.
we
Yeah.
can wind it up. And one more question, or do we want to start with Fiori or with HANA? I believe we will start with Fiori, which is much more interesting, I believe. Suresh, what do you say?
We'll go with fear.
Yeah, we'll go with Fiori. Fiori is good. Others, anything, any you want HANA DB first or something like that? Or is it okay with any of them?
No, how it would be like, Raghu? Like after implementation, like will you start from the S/4HANA DB or from Fury Security for the security guys?
Do you mean as I said, right? DB, you have zero involvement.
Okay.
All your involvement will be on your ABAP stack, your Fiori UI5 part.
Okay, that
So
is like HANA DB would be like for the knowledge purpose, like to have
no,
exposure on.
no. So when you get into the implementation part, right? When you start designing your privileges, your roles, the initial aspect is all basis, right? You only get into HANA when you have a particular, see, the amount of work you do on HANA DB is less than 5% in an implementation. Okay, not all every organization work on privileges and roles on HANA DB because it is very, very critical, and not all users are allowed to access your HANA DB. Okay, most of them run on CDS views. Okay, CDS views are nothing but a shortcut to skip all these information views, right? We talked about information views here, right?
Yes.
So these three information views, right? Attribute view, analytical view, and calculation view. Now CDS is something which is overhauling this, right? And CDS work with the ABAP stack in an indirect way where the presence of the user is not required on a HANA DB. So we are migrating towards that form of security, but there are still aspects where you require a user's presence. There are new modules in SAP like EPPM. I'm not sure if you have heard of those. Okay, there are planning models like IBP. There are things like innovation management, IM. Okay, SAP IM, innovation management. There is EPPM, and there is one more, PLM, right? So there are new SAP modules which are coming up, which automatically creates a user on HANA DB, right? So that is where you need to be very, very careful about how you control the security aspects of your HANA DB. Okay, what are your privileges? How many privileges are there, and how can you control the access? What are the types of user? Those kind of aspects you will be working on. But the majority, wherever you see a person working on, as Anjanelu was saying, right, it will be more of a support part where you control the user's access. The implementation part is done, right? And then thereafter you start controlling the users by assigning, removing privileges, assigning and removing roles, creating new users, maybe a restricted user, okay, or maybe a standard user. Those kind of things will be coming into play. But as an implementation point of view, it is very, very limited.
Okay. Okay, Raghu. Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks.
so if you ask me, if I have to be very candid about this, they expect a lot from HANA DB, but when you get into it, it's only for the interview part where you will be asked on HANA DB security. But in reality, when you go on the floor, there will be absolutely nothing on HANA DB, right? If you are very, very lucky, then you will actually get to create privileges. Okay, so yeah, that's how the industry is right now. I'm very, very candid about this.
Okay. Okay, Raghu. Yeah. Thanks.
Raghu, Shiva here.
Yes, Shiva.
Like, is there any included with the native HANA and the S4 HANA?
What do you
Native
mean?
HANA
What is
security.
your understanding of native HANA and S4 HANA?
I'm zero zero knowledge, Raghu, but just I
Okay.
heard that with and native HANA.
Whatever we are, see, it's a basis terminology. Okay, it is more related to ABAP and basis team. Okay,
Okay.
and your native HANA aspects. Okay, whatever we are doing is native HANA itself. Okay, it's not something different than S4 HANA. Native HANA is an approach towards developing HANA database. Okay, some things which are built internally, which is native to the system, that is native HANA. It can be S4, it can be pre S4, it can be S4 3.0, it can be whatever, right? So it's not
Okay.
different ways of looking into native and S4 HANA. They are not different. It is the same.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Raghu.
No problem. No problem. Any other questions? Okay, great.
Raghu,
And
Shiva again.
yes, yes, Shiva.
So, can we expect any real-time scenarios while conducting the classes?
Everything is real time. Everything is hands-on. I will give you examples which I have faced in my projects. Okay, we will have workshops on role design part. We will have privilege designs. You have role design on the DB part. All those things will be real time. Nothing
Okay.
is from the textbook. Trust me, there are no. That's why I'm saying this is the last presentation you will see. The only time I open presentation is when I'm trying to explain these kind of stuffs, right? Okay, whenever I try to explain in a pictorial way, I open some presentation. Apart from that, I do not have any material at all. I do not have absolutely zero material. Everything we do is on your remote desktop. Okay, HANA DB, we will create our own database. We have our data. You can come up with your own data, right? We will import the tables. Okay, we will start from that level, right? We'll start from that level. Okay, we will import our own tables. We will build our own database. We will see what is column tables. We will row tables, and all those things we'll be covering. We will build our information view, and on top of that, we will build our privileges. So it is covering the entire life cycle of your data. Same goes with your Fiori, right? We will see what are the available apps. We will come up with our own requirement. Okay, let's say in a project, you have your, so our core is your business process document. Okay, we will bring a business process document which is standard from SAP. Okay, we will see what a business process document is, how you can design a role, what are the number of catalog apps required for that particular role. From there we will start, right? That's how we will ease into the way of implementation.
So after the session is completed, so do we have any documents for the reference?
There are two standard SAP documents. Okay, I'll provide you
Okay.
those two documents.
Okay, perfect.
One for database, one for Fiori. I'll give you both.
Okay. Okay, Raghu. And last question, like after the session, after the classes go over, so is there any providing the help in the job support? Like if you got any real time, doubts, anything, so will you support for that?
Definitely, yes, definitely. So anything technical, any questions you have, okay, I no one can assure you a job. Okay, if anyone assures you something, we can only help you in getting a call, or maybe I can
Okay,
help
yeah,
you in clearing the interview, right? But
yeah,
no one can guarantee a job.
okay. No, while we are already working in, right? So while
Yeah,
in case we
definitely,
got
Shiva.
any
Just you can reach out at any time. It will.
Anytime,
sure,
anytime,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, sure, fine, Raghu.
Raghu, I
I have
think
yeah.
Yeah, this will help us to clear the certification also. Is that do we have to any?
Certification is entirely different. Huh? This is
Okay,
not targeted to clear certification. I'm being very honest. This is targeted to do your job, not clear certification. Certification comes with a lot more things which you'll not even use in your job, day-to-day activities.
okay,
I have done certification. I'm telling you from my own experience. I have done all those certifications on Fiori, GRC, ECC, all of that. And from my experience, I'm telling you what you want to clear a certificate, maybe like 10-20% you apply on your day-to-day activities. What my agenda is, which will help 100% of whatever you are seeing here, it will be directly translated in your work.
okay, Raghu. Yeah, got it.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah.
So in a certification, they will ask you 100 things which will never implement in a job.
Okay.
Have you taken any certification before?
No, Raghu. No, not.
It has zero value these days. It has
Okay.
absolutely zero value. Every certification comes with a dump, and you will clear with 100% if you go through the dumps. Okay. If I have taken tons of interviews. I never go by certification. Okay. If somebody says that, okay, I'm certified, keep it aside. I want to know what you know, not the certification. Certification do not tell me that you are an expert.
Mhm.
Okay. No, absolutely no. I, as an interviewer, never value a certificate. Maybe things people may say differently, but if you personally ask me, I am taking interviews from past 7 years, 8 years maybe. Okay. I never value SAP certification. CISA, CISSM is different. CIS, that is entirely different. But SAP certification, for me, it is zero.
Okay. Okay, Raghu. Yeah, fine. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions before we wind up? Okay, guys. Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend ahead.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks, Raghu.
Yeah, you too, Raghu.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Bye.
Raghu. Thank you,
Thank
Suresh. Take
you.
care, both.
Yeah,